Absolutely. A vegetarian diet in the vast majority of cases is not going to cover all your bases. The first and most obvious that people talk about all the time, of course, is vitamin B12, which you're not going to get from plant foods. In this, ideally, you want to look at having a methylated form of B12. So this is like methylcobalamin. That's going to be much easier for your body to use and also deliver some additional benefits as compared to the non-methylated form that you often see in cheaper supplements, which is called cyanocobalamin. And then the next one would be D3 and K2. This you often see in combination, and it's, look, everybody should be taking this pretty much, but it's even more important for vegans and vegetarians because you're less likely to be getting any from your diet compared to somebody who might be eating a meat diet, maybe having some fish or other animal foods that could have some, or like a cod liver oil that might have some D3 in there. Now, the K2 side of things is interesting because there are multiple forms of vitamin K2. The two most talked about are MK7, which is a kind that you most commonly see in supplements and has a little bit of research on it. And then MK4, which there's a few supplements out there, but they're not great. You got to take them like 3 times a day because of the way they work. And MK4 is generally what's found in animal foods and in things like butter and ghee and cheese and different forms of dairy. So you said you're a vegetarian rather than a vegan, so I'm thinking maybe you're already covered in this department. I don't know exactly what your diet's like in terms of that, but MK4 is what's had the vast majority of the research done on it for things like bone health that you really want to make sure you're taking care of. So that's another one. Then long-chain omega-3s. So on a vegan and vegetarian diet, you get lots of maybe you get lots of omega-3s from really good plant foods like hemp seeds, chia seeds, etc. But those are probably still outweighed by a much higher level of inflammatory omega-6 as compared to the anti-inflammatory omega-3s. So you don't want to overdo it on like nuts and really high omega-6 foods, for example. That's one side of this. And then the other side is that these plant omega-3s are the short chain, the ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. And you do convert a small amount of these over to the long-chain omega-3s, EPA and DHA, but not nearly enough. So you really want to supplement with these. Now, traditionally, people would get this from fish and from grass-fed meats, or in the semi-recent history, from fish oil and from krill oil. And most people are still doing it in that form, which is fantastic. If you're vegetarian and not pescatarian, and so you're not open to that department of things, you're in great luck. You're living in the best time for your kind of a person in all of history, because now you can get it from algae oil, which is a completely vegan source of long-chain omega-3s. It costs more, but it's a solution to that problem that up until very recently there was no real solution for. And that is so important for inflammation, for gut health, and I would say most importantly for brain health. It is tremendous. And then certain amino acids that you can get, like you see complete proteins in the vegetarian world. You'll see things like hemp and chia and bee pollen. Maybe some vegans aren't even considering that vegan, I guess. But vegan, I guess is the word, right? But a lot of these protein sources don't have very much of certain amino acids that are hard to find in the plant-based world. So a couple examples here would be like leucine, lysine, and glycine. And these actually play quite a big role in why you see people who are vegetarian have a harder time building the muscle like you would commonly see in people who are non-vegetarian. And these are, look, they have a whole host of benefits, which we'll get more into in other videos, but you want to make sure you're covering your bases with amino acids. Again, I don't know exactly what your vegetarian diet looks like. Lysine you can find a lot from grass-fed cheeses, for example, but maybe you're into that, maybe you're not. We'll have to maybe revisit in a future question.